You are listening to the Light Overtime podcast with David Sargent and Korey Bartos. It is June 18th, 2023. How are you doing, bud?
I'm fantastic. How about you?
I'm not bad, you know. Happy Father's Day. You are a father. I'm
Thanks,
hopefully not one. But
One
to
day
my
you may find out. Who knows?
to my knowledge, I am not. So a lot of people call me daddy, though. So I'll take it.
Right.
No, so I normally ask what we're drinking. I think you did a flash brew, but tell us what you got going today.
I did. I've been waiting because it looks delicious. It is a Columbia Supremo, kind of a medium dark, actually. And for ice stuff, cold stuff, I like a slightly darker brew. A little chocolatey, a little lemon citrus. It's really nice.
Well, yeah, I did. I did a handful of iced coffee, Japanese iced coffee when I had that Supremo. It's pretty good. I have a ginger mule, and we're gonna get right into it.
All right.
So we skipped a week again. This is the second time we have skipped a week. I want to not make a habit of it, but things get crazy and busy.
For sure.
I was in Ohio for a trade show, which was quite wild. Not a whole lot of photography going on, but I did happen to need to download the newer version of the Creators app, and it's bad, and I hate it.
But it's bad only because it's no better than it ever was.
It's not as good as it was, and I can't go back.
Oh, you think so, huh?
It's when I last used the app for my A7 forum, no issues. It was like I could pretty much, once I had it all set, and it was kind of weird to get it set up. When I would turn it on, I could just transfer some images, put them into my Lightroom, and do it. It took a tremendous amount of time for me to literally just transfer one image that I wanted to edit.
Sure.
I was so mad with it. I had no internet connection issues. There was nothing. It was just that the app is not as good, and that was a bummer. But yeah, so other than that, I haven't done a ton of shooting this week. I am contemplating returning the teleconverter.
Ooh.
Just because I haven't even had the desire to touch it, and like it's $500. And I'm like at that last window, so I have it boxed up. I have the RMA in, so Monday, tomorrow, I'm going to decide if I'm going to send it back or not. I just sold my 1080 Ti graphics card to my buddy, and so I have a temporary 960 in here. So I think I might use the funds to get on like a 4070 or something like that.
That would definitely be more productive for you in the short term.
Yeah,
I would think.
Yeah. Fortunately, most of the rendering I'm doing is either this show, which now will take long because I rendered out a reel for Jaegerworks yesterday, and it was significantly longer than it should have been. So 1080 Ti to 960 is rough.
That's definitely different.
Yeah. But other than that, mostly I'm at work and I have a 3090 and a 12-core AMD chip and stuff. So like that computer's beefy. But we'll decide what happens. I think it's time for me to get into RTX anyway. I held off for many years. So with all this AI stuff and things like that, I'm sure whatever I end up with, it will feel like I'm in space. So so you, other than before, I'm going to go ahead and assume that before this weekend, you have been mostly roasting coffee and just like going gangbusters. But tell me about your weekend.
Yeah, if I can even remember the beginning of the week. So, yes, Wednesday, Thursdays, I have markets. So that means Monday, Tuesdays, I'm roasting. My Wednesday market comes along. I sell 27 bags. I probably did like 15 cups of coffee. That's the Boyne City market in the middle of the week. That's a fun one. A lot of locals. And then, so I was like, oh, cool. It sold 27 bags. I think I had like 50 something left. And I know with like 2 markets left in the week, I was like, I should roast. So I got home Wednesday night, roasted until like 9 p.m. or something. Got ready, load my car, go to bed at like 10 or whatever, because I got to be up at like 5:30. And then I sold another 27 bags in Charlevoix the next day. And roasted again, I believe, that night, if I remember correctly, because the next day, Friday, I had to do Was it this Friday? Yeah, Friday night. I had to built a computer for a friend of mine.
Oh,
So it was I did a mini ITX build. Never built in a mini ITX case. It was the Thermaltake Core V1. It was not hard at all. I spec'd him out. It's like he had a 1660 Ti and he didn't want to spend the money on a new GPU just yet, but he had all the other stuff. So I spec'd him out like a 10400F. He only had a budget of $500, so he wanted to use the case and the GPU. This is nerdy tech stuff. Anyway, I spent 4 hours building a computer. It went really well, but at 11:30 p.m. I was finally done, and I still had to load my car to be ready for the market on the next day. I load my car up at 11:50 p.m. and realize I left an entire crate of my farmer's market stuff at the Charlevoix market Thursday. And it had still been, I went down there at 11:50 p.m. downtown, middle of the night, and it was still there, all my stuff. So I picked up my stuff. I don't know how nobody moved it. I consider myself very lucky. Got my stuff, got into bed at like 12:15. To get back up again at 5:30 and do it all over again. Saturday market went really well. And immediately after that, I went home, had lunch, and took a trip to the UP.
Very nice. That's chaotic, by the way.
It was a busy week.
Yeah,
no downtime.
It looked pretty good. We normally chat a little bit here and there through the week. We didn't speak like at all.
Nah, there was no time for anything. I can't even. I was gonna put off that build until like Monday or Tuesday. I told him, I'm like, I don't think I can do it. I had like a couple hours, and then he's like, oh, by the way, I gotta work. Could you do it? Because we were gonna do it together. I'm like, oh, bro, just drop the parts off and come pick it up at 9 or whatever. And he ended up staying till like 11. But yeah, no time at all. Yeah. It was fun, chaotic, but yes.
Yes. So run me through the idea and I guess the conception and the execution of this. Like, I'm gonna go north for the night.
Man, so the idea was born out of I didn't get to go in the spring, right?
Sure.
Like earlier. So I'd been doing that workshop every year for the last 5 years, and because it had to be canceled, I was like, I'm not going to let this summer go by without at least going once. So it's only a 2-hour drive for me.
That's not bad.
And a buddy of mine who was going to come with us in the workshop too was like, hey, I'll come because I got nothing else to do actually on that specific night. So we both met up there, and I filmed a couple of coffee videos because it's been a hella long time since I've done that. And I did some photography, and it felt really good to completely break away from all the stuff that's been keeping me so busy since May, early last month. Just a night of total reset, and it was perfect. In the morning too, it was great. Totally refreshed.
Nice. So did you knock out, did you do a little bit of everything? A little bit of nature, a little bit of landscape, a little bit of astro?
Yeah. I did not do astro. Oh,
that's surprising.
Yeah, it is, because the stars did come out by the time I was thinking about going to bed. But my alarm was set for 5:20 a.m. And by midnight, I was like, if I start astro now, I'm going to have such little sleep. And I got stuff to do the next day. And I can do astro kind of anywhere, but it would have been nice. But I did do sunset. I did some intimate nature stuff where there's a bunch of wildflowers and just other nice little things. But I did manage to, I think, nail this month's challenge picture there as well. I had that on my mind. I got it. I actually got it this morning. And then I did the sunrise. I got up at 5:20. So we had a really nice sunrise. It was just me. I had a really nice sunrise. Got to see great blue heron. The winter wren was up there as well. And then I got a new bird for me, which was the king crested flycatcher. It had a call I'd never heard before. I ID'd it with the Merlin app, and I found it. And I had to use its call to get it to come close to me because it would not let me close at all. And I got a couple of pictures. One really nice silhouette, actually. But I had a really good time just doing kind of an all-around wildlife, nature, landscapes. It was good.
Nice.
Really good.
Nice. Yeah. I've been wanting to get out to shoot pretty bad. I actually had a buddy Ryan bought a M3 this week, an old ass Leica film camera,
Yeah.
and wanted to like jump into it. He was asking me some questions about it and stuff. He's really geeked. And he messages me yesterday and is like, "Hey man, I don't know if I can do it like really soon because he just got off of a bunch of travel. He went to Scotland and some other places like recently. But he's like, we should like meet up, just like pick a city and just like meet up for like a weekend soon and just like the whole weekend do nothing but photography." And I was
The
like,
whole weekend.
yeah, let's do that, man. So I'm hoping to do that soon. That'd be fun. Probably won't happen until later in the year, but
That sounds great.
yeah, something like that just sounds cool. And like that was it was just funny that he brought that up because it felt very much like you just going up north this weekend and being like, just gonna go up there, gonna shoot a bunch of photos.
Yeah.
and just make it happen. That's sick.
And my buddy, he's not a photographer, but when I say anything about camping, he's there. It doesn't matter. So he brought his dog, and he's like a bushcrafter kind of dude. So when I set up, he's got his own little thing going. So whether I was gonna go out or not, like he would have come with me, and he would have just chilled, and it was great. It was really cool. So I hope you get to do that because it definitely was like completely reinvigorating. I was getting not burnt out, but man, the it's only the beginning of summer and it's exhausting doing the same thing every single day.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, and that's a little bit how I feel, right? Because I'm trying to get content up every single day for work, and it's just like I leave and go, I don't want to pick up my camera, dude. I've been I've been struggling to be creative for an entire like 6 days, and then like, what am I going to do? Continue to try to be creative. It's a little bit of a bummer because I guess my network is pretty small. It's much smaller than I thought it was here in Kazoo. So I just got to like reintroduce myself to human beings, I think. But I desperately want to at least get it. I've been playing guitar a little bit, so hopefully I can get with some people to do some things like that. I'm reaching out for a couple of friends that have cool, interesting businesses. Doing some mini documentary things, just like as a passion project, man. And I gotta feel it again because I know we kind of talked about it at the beginning of the year, and then it ramped up a little, but I'm just like dead on photography at the moment. I still have one frame on my film camera, one frame, and I just don't know what to shoot. I feel like it's such a cop out if I just snap it and send out the film. You know what I mean? I want like the last one to be
keep
memorable.
that one maybe for your pick a city trip, and like maybe you'll find one moment of inspiration to use that shot.
Oh no, dude! If we're gonna do that, I'm gonna be shooting a lot of film. I'll probably go through a couple of rolls.
Okay. Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah, he's getting into it. I definitely think that could help. Yeah, I don't know. It's been weird. A weird relationship with photography right now. Gear kind of died out this last 2 weeks. Like there was not a whole lot of things to get me super excited.
Yeah, I would say though, I was kind of feeling the same way. So it took me like forcing myself to say, I'm just gonna go and do this. I know I could be busy. I could have roasted all day or all night instead of going to the UP, but I was like, no, I actually need this. Like I'm actually starting to break down a little bit. I need something to reset me, and it was perfect. Just got to do it sometimes.
I still take my camera everywhere I go. I grab my sling.
I don't. That's the funny thing. When I drive, my camera is probably in my trunk. So I was like, I have like anytime the camera comes with me, there's some intention. It's like for me, I was thinking about that on my drive home. I remember you telling me that and knowing that I'm driving by all these areas where like bald eagles and stuff are. And I'm like, if I had my camera next to me, I'd stop every freaking 100 feet on this road and I'd never get home. But yeah, it's a different thing for me. So I don't know.
Dude, I grab my camera if I'm like just going to Starbucks real quick.
That's funny.
Like, and it's kind of because I have this weird sense, and it happened. I think it happened with my UFO sighting back in the day. Like every time something cool happens and I don't have my camera, there's nothing else that I wish could have ever happened. So, and now I feel like every time I have my camera, nothing happens. But at least if I always have my camera, it'll be ready if like something truly wild happens and I want to capture it. Yeah, pretty wild. So I got to figure something out. I don't know. I don't really have gas right now, and normally I'm pretty gear motivated. Um, yeah, pretty wild
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh, if you were going to ask me, or before you asked me, or if you weren't going to ask me, no, I did not update my Sigma 150 to 600, even though the firmware is out. Somebody messaged me while I was there, and I like internally screamed. I was like, this was the opportunity for me. And I don't know when, like, it's going to be fall the next time I get to do something like that again. I was a little mad at myself because that update is supposed to be pretty major, and I really wanted to put that to the test. So I'm gonna have to force myself to do another one of these quick trips for that.
Yeah, I mean, we got to do something. It's just
We
gonna be a
do.
matter of when we can make it happen. Because like
Yeah.
doing a live episode will be fun anyway. But
Yep.
um,
Yep.
yeah, I gotta get out there, man. Like I said, I think my wanting to get rid of the teleconverter is just because I'm super demotivated. But as like the second I would be motivated to use that thing, I would not want to get rid of it. And then I'd go, man, I shouldn't have got rid of that freaking teleconverter. So
Yeah.
it's tough. It's just been a weird little slump. Busy with work and busy with life or whatever.
Right.
I,
I did while I was in the UP, while I was thinking about how to approach this challenge photo, the way that I had my camera, the way I was handling my camera made me take a very different picture than I would have ever taken. And I'm not talking about the challenge photo I took. I took a series of self-portraits just for me. And I never do that. I'm not a
Yep.
self-portrait person. It's so rare. And I did one not like a month ago that I really liked for when I was out doing Northern Lights. And I had this camera. I'm not trying to be too detailed because I don't want to spoil anything. But I had this camera in a very weird position, and I happened to see myself, and I was like, "Oh, that's kind of a banger composition right there." And I took a couple shots. I'm like, "Okay, this is kind of cool." Like, I wish I could be more specific, but I'm actually really excited for the picture for the challenge. So we'll talk about it more, I guess. What is it, next week or the week after?
The week after, for those of you just kind of tuning in, we did a photo share for May that was black and white. This month's prompt is Unseen Worlds. Just however you want to interpret that. But in the show notes or in the description of the YouTube channel video, you can email me a submission if you want to partake. We don't do any like heavy critiquing or anything like that. We just kind of go over images and talk about how they make us feel and shit when we see them, and it's a good time. But yeah, I haven't quite got mine. I was playing around with some. I'm in the process of also basically cleaning my entire PC at work, which I built for them in 2020. So there's a lot on there. I think I got all the raw files backed up on the internal mass storage and on one of my external hard drives, but now I'm going through and I'm trying to save a handful of my just edited JPEGs and stuff like that, things that like I don't know. You don't know what you don't know. Like,
Yeah.
if I get upset and I can't find them, like re-editing a photo sometimes doesn't always pan out. I'm sure you've experienced that.
Yep.
Yeah, with that, I was kind of looking at my photography when I first started it there in like 2020 and kind of going through everything. And there's a lot of interesting stuff you can do in a machine shop. I'll say that.
Sure.
I don't think I'm going to submit any of the images that I've been playing around with just like while I'm at work, but it really can change your brain for just like trying to find compositions, especially with macro or ultra wide close-ups. There was this shot that I took that was a bunch of like optics mounts. Basically, it looks like Picatinny risers. And there's just like a bunch of them, and they're all raw aluminum, and they were on this, I don't know, like cart. And the lighting was just so good for some reason, because like the whole CNC machine has a light in it, and then there was like it was like spotlight, and it wasn't like gross top-down stuff. And they're machined so precisely that it was like f1.4 35 mil image, and it basically just looked like these like epic tessellations, and you couldn't even tell what you were looking at first because the depth of field is so shallow. But like the whole frame was just like this blurry mass of like gnarly tessellated like texturing, and I was like, oh, okay, well, that's a good start.
Yeah,
Playing
definitely.
with stuff like that is pretty cool.
I liked how broad this prompt was.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't it's not like it doesn't tell you shoot macro or like it's not so specific that you're kind of locked in or focused on one way of thinking about how to tackle this thing.
Yeah.
And so I kind of I had this idea when I was walking around going, I wonder. And when I was shooting that image, and that image I think I like a lot. I can't wait to edit it actually tonight. I was like playing around and it just happened to like inspire me to shoot in other ways because it's so broad. Yeah. So it's a good prompt, I think. I hope those of you who are listening approach this with an open mind, because you could be really creative with this one.
Oh yeah, totally. And that was the goal when I was like, I don't want to just choose like a type of, because like, what if somebody just doesn't have the ability to, if it was macro or if it was like wild telephoto stuff, it's like, well, I have like a 50 and a 24. I can't do that.
Good point. Great point.
And I was like, okay, so obviously there's a little suggestive nature. I think you and I both kind of went to macro because like when you first heard the prompt, I think we talked briefly about like, oh, well, macro, right?
Yeah.
It's because it's so easy.
But it's thought for sure.
It's also like, places at times that you're not normally there. I was thinking heavily about the wildfire images I saw from New York City when it looked like Blade Runner 2049. I don't know if you saw much of that, but there was like whole sections of New York that was like early COVID where it shouldn't have been cleared out. It was 3:30 in the afternoon, but it was so smoggy that people just weren't outside. So it looked barren and it's like that would have been an epic image for sure for this prompt, right? So there's just a lot of ways you could take it, and I'd like to do that, at least every other photo share or whatever, because there's no reason not to do these photo shares. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the point is photography. I've seen a decent amount of like very critical tweets and content lately, and I'm not sure that I like the vibes. So I'm seeing a lot of people talking about like, obviously your gear doesn't matter and this or that, and it's like all of these creators, and unfortunately like the capitalism behind trying to be a content creator as your full-time job is such that like I have to capitalize on things. That's the world we live in. I'm not saying one way or the other if I think it's right, wrong, or indifferent, but unfortunately that leads people who want to quit their day job to like requiring that they find ways to try and get more views and like try to do all this stuff, which is partially why I don't want to take this channel and this podcast into that direction, because I think it'll change how these conversations happen. Mm-hmm. And I guess I'm just like, there's a big chunk of people who still aren't actually producing like story-driven content, who maybe they do outside of YouTube and I just don't know what they're doing all the time, but it's so much criticism about how like people just need to shut the fuck up and use their camera. And then it's from people who I haven't really seen actually tell stories. They still just talk about gear and do stuff. And I don't know why, like that's what you're going to get views on, like I'm going to review this thing, or why I'm switching to Canon, or like this is the best camera for you in 2023. And it's like, is that really getting the views that almost any other type of content could drive should you actually try and make something meaningful? Or does meaningful content, which I am a little intimately familiar with, does the stuff you work really hard on that you really love just fall short because maybe people just don't give a shit? So you have to milk it and turn it into something that people have a reason to give a shit about. It's become weird.
I feel it. I think it's a little a column A, a little a column B, right? Like people give a shit, and they probably would give more of a shit if the title was clickier for some of the things that you work really hard on, but it's really hard to make clicky titles on that kind of stuff, right? And the gear stuff, you put the name of a camera or a brand and they just get the clicks because people like to click on that type of stuff, even though you don't feel super passionate about that kind of conversation all the time. I think it's a little of both. And that's really hard to reconcile with sometimes as a creator. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have a Mila note full of content that I want to make, and then I always go back to what's the motivation for this content, and
Yeah.
and a lot of the options are because I think it'll be clickable and people will watch it. And then the stuff that I actually want to produce because I think it'll be more fun and meaningful, I don't think it would do anything. And so I just haven't done it yet. And I also just need to do it. And that's a whole other can of worms because obviously I work like 60 hours a week and I make content for work, and I have to like really ramp up video content at work. So it's a bit daunting, but it's just strange. I wish I was able to hone in on creators that were doing the type of thing that I keep like suggesting that I want. I don't know if I'm just not looking hard enough or if I don't actually want what I say I want, kind of deal. The content space is weird. That said, there has been a decent amount of like pretty solid new YouTubers that I've been noticing actually doing like and they're not doing well, obviously, because they're not doing clicky stuff, but some pretty beautiful work.
Yeah.
The guys that kind of do both really well, they seem to be like doing professional commercial stuff full time. And so I assume they probably have an editor and there's just a lot more money behind their stuff, but it's that blur behind, is this like a dude with a YouTube channel or is this like part of some guy's business?
Right. You don't always get to know for sure, and knowing might help or hurt your idea of that channel or that person.
Right. Yeah. And it's just so weird. I used to have such a fun, inspired relationship with YouTube, and I don't think I do anymore. Somebody had posted today on Facebook, I miss blogs. That was all they said. And I was like, you're freaking telling me. That's where I cut my teeth and started this whole career with blogs.
Blogs and forums, man.
Like nice curated places that had ideas and forums. You know, I used to make PHP boards all the time back in the day, and we tried to get as many of our friends on it as we possibly could, and like it was so good. And I just, it sucks that like you either are doing really well and trying and like making money, and it's like your business, so you put a lot of energy into it, or like you're not doing that but you're trying to make money off it, so your content suffers tremendously. And it's like, man, for every, I don't know, 60 videos in my subscription box, there's like one that's good, and like I actually stop multitasking and I just sit there and watch it.
I actually just recently went through my sub list and took a bunch of them out, and maybe it would help if you and I shared who exactly we are subscribed to, because I have actually now narrowed it down to a good like solid like 60 or 70 something now, that like at least half of them are putting up content that is like what they're actually passionate about on a weekly basis or on a bi-weekly basis, that I will click on regardless of what the title says. You know what I mean?
Yeah, fair enough. I don't know that I kind of like, I unsubscribed from a lot of people, tried to make it more useful, and then I kind of just defaulted, I think, to gear and like BS. And that's a lot of the content I'm watching has to do with work, so it's very different than photography and things like that. But I think like Benjamin Hardman, who's like a dude who lives in Iceland, like go figure, like of course you can just go shoot all the freaking time. I don't envy that because I feel like it'd be pretty damn hard to live in Iceland and like try to make content regularly. It would lose its mystique fast if that was what he chose. But he does incredible stuff like expedition shoots and stuff like that.
Yeah, nice.
He gets a super low views for the type of shit that he does. But like he was on Peter McKinnon's channel recently and stuff because Pete went out there and like hung out with him for a day or like 2 days or something. Pretty wild. And then like the Mami Amigos podcast, which is Jason Grainy Days, who does incredible film photography content, has super dry humor. It's not for everyone.
I love it.
I have friends that absolutely hate it, but it's like I love when he has a new long form video I can put on to go to bed to.
It's great
because they're the best. But if you haven't watched their podcast yet, him and Caleb do a great job talking about stuff, and there's a whole lot of that comedy in there. And then the Petapixel, Jordan and Chris are doing a podcast with the editor of Petapixel.
Yeah, I saw that, but I didn't get a chance to get into it yet. Have you listened?
Yeah, I've been listening to them at work, and they're pretty good. It's always insightful because obviously like DP review was and Chris and Jordan are my primary reviewers. I think they give the best overviews when new gear's out. I dislike listening to them the least out of everyone. I say that carefully just because I don't like the super gear heavy, like I don't like this is a new product videos because I hate hearing the specs like 47 times.
Sure.
And so I just kind of watch one and then I fill in the void with like shorts and stuff like that. But they're kind of my go-to. And outside of that, like it's been pretty dry. I watched like Terry Warfield stuff because I think he's like probably one of the better. I don't even know what to say. Like I don't even know. Maybe he's not even the better. He's just like what I can handle and stomach now. It's a rough space. I'd like suggestions.
Yeah, well, I mean, all I'm gonna be able to say is I think this is a callback to a couple of weeks ago where I recommended you go find out, or anybody go find more medium format, large format film photographers putting that content out. There's not a ton of them, but you can almost guarantee that zero videos of theirs are going to be gear heavy, because that space is just not popping off with new gear all the time. So they got to make content that fits the niche where the people are wanting that kind of content, right? Like going out and doing the thing.
Right. Yeah, because
so
the process.
More of that to find.
Yeah. Well, and it just sucks because like I'd like to see it with digital.
I get it.
I'd like to see it with digital where it's not like I have a GoPro strapped to my chest and we're going to go do like rainy day, like city street photography. Like those videos are fine. I'll put them on in the background if I'm like doing something else. But
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe I'm just like at a plateau where I got to push really hard to get out of like my skill base, like to learn something new.
Yeah, maybe.
Or maybe I just like need to actually buckle down on like some serious video projects, because like for me photography is always going to be, and I say this within the reference of what I'm doing all the time, really fucking easy for me to do for basically any type of photography. Like I don't struggle to do it. I have the tools I need to do whatever I need, and so a photo shoot is one thing, but a video project is like, okay, do we have 3 months to make sure I get all the pickups and we do the edits and I got dailies and I can make like a story and it be like good. It's there's no middle ground I'm finding, I guess. Maybe.
Sure.
I don't know. I'm just spitballing today because like I'm in a funk.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll get to it though.
Funk. Yeah.
I think once you take the time to start and approach this challenge, it might open you up a little bit, and maybe just like one at a time, month over month. I don't know. I hope it doesn't take month to month to get to that point, but I think hopefully if you force yourself to do these weird little challenges, you'll get a little better with it.
Yeah, for sure. I'd love to get out and actually do like a really gnarly 5-day or something too. I have a lot of friends that are trying to get me to visit, and it's just like I'm gonna have to make decisions on who I go see.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, let's keep the conversation open, like on a weekly basis, on when you can come up, because I'll force you to shoot if you come up.
I know, man, and it's so rough. I got a friend in Massachusetts that wants to hang out hopefully next month.
Sure.
Buddy from New York's coming to Kalamazoo next month. I've been trying to, for the last 6 months, get my buddy Tommy and Taylor together, and they're a huge source of inspiration out in the backcountry and stuff like that. And that's what I'd like to do is actually get after like, nearing death again and getting after some serious backcountry hiking. Especially now that I'm kind of doing like this whole fitness thing. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I just got to like try to break out of the day job, and I'm excited about this like micro documentary thing I want to do. I just need to like hope that I don't bite off more than I can chew and knock out a couple of I've kind of primed Factory Coffee with doing one. Hope's chiropractic business, Loot Energy, and stuff like so. That's like kind of being able to do some passion projects where I can just get like some spec documentary work, but it'll hopefully help them create content for their businesses. So like
sure.
it kind of, double down on helping friends and doing stuff that I actually want to do, where I could be like, hey, I want to do this documentary. I don't want to do like commercial bullshit. I want to do something that it'll help you. But it'll be more driven by like my desire to do documentary work.
Do you have the format thought of to tell us what you're thinking of for these things?
I have like frames and images in my head. So basically,
Okay.
I kind of want it to be. I want to do just like. My thought was an origin documentary, like a micro documentary, like who is Factory Coffee, who is Loot Energy, and then be able to sit down and do like one solid interview with them where I can get hopefully everything I need from a decent interview, and then kind of build out what we need to shoot for like family life and like working out and like all the mechanisms that I kind of already know about how they're probably going to tell a little bit of their story. But then kind of work to going back, organizing my thoughts for what kind of shots I want to tell this story. If the Dan at Factory Coffee goes into a little bit about his like moped business that he had, like there's still some moped like signage and stuff in the Factory Coffee thing, and I can go through some of that and maybe have him like kick on a moped or something like that, and like actually build those visuals that I think about when I'm hearing an interview, and like really knock out, even if it ends up being like a really wicked 3-minute micro doc.
Sure.
And just like try to make something really cool for each person, and then let them tell people who they are, where it wasn't them trying to like pay a company to come, hey, I want to tell you guys about me and make content. It's I want to know about them. And I think because that's going to be the way it is, like it'll be driven that direction. It won't feel like they're trying to tell you something. You know what I mean? It'll be like me really kind of digging and trying to cut in 60-minute style, but like way shorter, right?
Yeah. Digestible. I like it.
Yeah, just kind of interesting. I figured I could probably pull something pretty interesting out of all of them. The really hard one that I really want to do, because I think it'll challenge me the most, especially trying to get visuals, is Hope's chiropractic practice. Because I can definitely get like shots of her like practicing, but whatever she's going to talk about, to try and get try to figure out what that B-roll looks like and stuff. It'll be interesting. She's one of my closest friends, so I have basically full access to, if she wants to talk about like her health and fitness journey, her diet journey with Evan and all this other stuff, like I can get good footage, but it'll be some
of the ideas
hardest.
that she talks about might be more intangible than you anticipate, maybe.
Right. Yeah. Because I don't know where it would go, and I don't know how I would make it happen. So but I think it could be really cool. Like I said, I think it could be interesting to make a 3-minute max like micro doc, and then give them a couple of shorts, like edits from shorts, and then just kind of make stuff to actually excite myself, because I'm trying to watch a movie a week right now. I'm just trying to be inspired, man. Really on a big fitness kick. So I've been watching the Arnold documentary that just dropped. It's a 3-part on Netflix. Part 1 is his like bodybuilding era. Part 2 is his acting era, and part 3 is his like being a governor politics era. But they did a tremendous job on that, because they got footage from his entire life, and he's doing like an interview now, like 75 or whatever he is, and he's still working out. He just made a show called Foo Bar for them and all this other stuff. And but it's a beautifully shot. They do dramatized versions of some of the stuff that he talks about too. So there's like a lot of like really high end cut-ins and stuff where it like kind of shows what he's describing from back in Austria and shit like that.
Nice.
And I don't think I'll probably get to that point. I'll probably stage some things, like if somebody's talking about doing a workout, we'll go to the gym and we'll make that happen or whatever. But yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah. Cool. I'd like to see it.
Yeah, I would too.
One day.
Yeah.
Maybe not too far in the future. Just keep it on the forefront of the mind, and maybe it'll happen sooner than you think.
Yeah. But that's mostly where I'm at. Just trying to find motivation, trying to keep my head above water, and hopefully get into my own apartment soon. But
yeah,
I do have a deep desire to find the content that used to make me excited. Like back when it was like 2018 and I was watching Peter McKinnon. Like, where do I get that excitement again?
Yeah.
Where do I get like old Levi Allen when he was doing the Slack Life series? Like, shout out to Levi Allen with my Life's Better When You Make Stuff shirt. But
nice.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. It feels just very commercial and very uninspired and uninspiring right now.
It's one of those things where I think I've been in that situation before, and I know I have been, and on those occasions, it could be months of a slump feeling where you're feeling not creative, uninspired, or you feel like every day there's some like weird pressure that no one's putting on you but yourself to make something, and you think about it and it's almost like too much, and it's kind of hard to explain, right? But that feeling of trying to let that go, it takes a lot. And after a couple of months, sometimes I finally just go, screw it, I'm just gonna drop those thoughts and like screw off for a week and try really hard not to even have the desire to pick up the camera, because it's a weird like cyclical thing of creative torture, right? Like you want to pick up the camera and make the thing, but you don't want to feel forced to do it, and nobody's really forcing you to do it outside of work or whatever. But sometimes I just need to like, okay, I'm not gonna pick up my camera. I'm gonna go out and do something else, or just like, I don't know, play Xbox for a week or whatever. And those times, usually, I stumble upon something weird on Instagram or YouTube. It's like, oh, where's my camera? You know, it's sure. Like sometimes a break helps. You know, I don't know what kind of break you might need, but maybe.
Yeah, like I said, just real challenging, I think, with the work, because I'm doing mostly photo video at work right now. So pretty wild. You know, good problems to have, all first world problems, but I think
there's definitely a substantial conversation to be had about feeling that personal pressure making content. I don't know if that's a first world. Maybe it is a first world problem, but it is an artist's problem, and that's global.
Well, I want to make stuff. I don't want to make content. You know what I mean? That's the problem. I don't want to make content, but I want people to view it. Like, and I want to get feedback. I like the feedback loop of it. Like, I want to make stuff for people that people enjoy, but to get people to see it it's got to be content. I maybe unfortunately, maybe fortunately, stumbled upon the old autoplay on YouTube hit me with a couple of tunes from Bo Burnham's Inside, which I was heavily into when it came out, because obviously like COVID was nuts, and I've been a Bo Burnham fan since I was a junior in high school, which was 2009, which was when like New Math and stuff was a brand new YouTube video. So I've been a fan of his for a long time, and it's like that. I think it was What and Inside hit so hard at a couple of moments where you're like, yeah, he's having fun, this is his job, and then sometimes you're like, oh my god, like I actually know exactly how this moment feels, and it's such a nostalgic feeling because it's been 2 years, right? And it hit me the other day, and I don't know if that put me into the funk or it made me realize I was in a funk, but there's a little bit of like content, and then how the world works. And then what's the song that I like so much? What's the actual title of it? All Eyes on Me. Just freaking brutal, man.
Yeah, I definitely felt like that special was like an anthem to that entire era. Yeah, like his piece on that on Netflix was just, this is it. This is how a lot of people are feeling, and that was the thing to really mark
Yeah.
that feeling for sure.
Yeah.
So,
Have you seen the like outtakes?
I don't think I have.
So there's a whole second special called Inside Outtakes, and there's
I did
like
not know that.
it's on Netflix. There's like full songs. There's like these versions of the songs on the first on Inside, where it's like every single take on the screen, and when he like stops the take because he messes it up, it goes off the screen. So like over the course of the song, there's like 50, and then you see how few they get and how many takes it took for him to like be happy with it. You see a lot more of him tinkering with his like compositions and setting up stuff. It's pretty remarkable. And there's some like solid bangers in it. It's not nearly as good as Inside. He definitely nailed it with like what he chose to put in the actual special. But Inside Outtakes is super good. I've seen it probably 3 or 4 times. But yeah, super worth watching. It's wild what that time was. Yeah, super good. Anyway, I don't have a ton of gear stuff this week, but I did see something that I think is kind of neat. It was on Sony Alpha Rumors, but it's an Indiegogo project called the Valoi EZ35 film scanner. And it's kind of sick. So it's like basically, it looks like it's 3D printed. Maybe that's just the prototype, but it's like a box that you attach metal extension tubes onto, and then it screws to the front of a macro lens, and then it's got a slot for film and then a light on the back of it. So you can just tripod your camera and slide your film through the like thing and snap all of the images and get it like calibrated to full frame each of your 35 mil. And I think the Indiegogo was like 175 or something for the product. It seems pretty sick. Not that I mean, I get a lot of my stuff scanned when I get it done, but I get all my negatives back. And I wonder if something like Film Negative Pro or whatever that program is with something like this would give me just like tons of better flexibility with like all of my film photos. Might make it a little bit more fun and a little bit more worth getting that kind of latitude. Because like film isn't better, but neither is digital. They're different, right? They're different. Like because it's chemical and it's physical, like the way it captures exposure will always be different. It's not pixels. It's not pixels until you scan it into digital.
Yeah.
And so like fall off will always be different on a chemical exposure. Is it necessary? Not at all. Like somebody like Jared Poland's like, yeah, I shot film. It was cool. Like do it for fun or whatever, but like it's stupid. Just like get a sick camera. It's about the images. And some days of the week, that is my entire take as well. Yeah. But some days of the week, I'm like, no, man, because I'm going to shoot everything differently with a film camera, and it is fun. Especially like I don't want to wait 18 months every time I put a roll in my camera, but like I like to wait a few months. Like I like to go back to it and go, wow, if I took that photo on my digital camera, I probably would never have looked at I might have deleted it from the card. But because I couldn't, now there's all of a sudden a memory that like was gone that serendipitously exists in my mind now because I chose to capture it with the film camera. And that's special, dude. I don't care what anybody says. Like I'm into it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the product is cool. I think the price is a little high, to be honest. I'd have to see it myself. I can't make that judgment before I kind of get more of an idea of what it's about. But it's a great idea. You said that it had extension tubes that you put on. Can you explain that again? Extension tubes you put on a macro lens?
All right. So they're like extension tubes. It's post lens. It's not before the lens. Yeah, so okay. It's just because you have to dial in the minimum focusing distance of the lens, and you're not going to have the same macro lens. It does not come with a macro lens. It's all the other part. So are you saying it
screws onto the filter threads?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So basically it blocks out all that light, and then it goes into a box where, depending on how the final product looks with the casing and like the light situation, because it's all, I don't think sub $200 is crazy at all. I think that's sick. Like if it's made even slightly okay. And
Yeah, sure.
most lenses are way beyond that price. Most little adapters are beyond that price or about, right? Like the Sigma MC11 is like 150 or whatever, which is essentially nothing. It's definitely neat. I got to look into it a little bit better. I watched the video that I think Andre posted on his page, the Sony Alpha Rumors, and then I didn't look into it much past that. But as far as not using a scanner, because scanners are a pain in the ass, and then potentially using my current 30 plus megapixel camera up to what was like a 60 megapixel camera, and being able to, without dicking around, because I've scanned friends' film with my A7R4 before, but it was janky. Like
it's hard.
Like we had a white. We took an iPad Pro, put a white background on it, scotch taped the film to it, and then like had it over tripod, like, so it wasn't blocking out ambient light. There was like so much wrong with that process.
Absolutely.
That was just not good.
I'm familiar with that because anytime I've ever had film developed, I have only ever asked for the negative back. I've never have them scan it because I want to be in that process. Sure. So, and my setup is janky, but I like the process, right? So I have this light board. Basically, it's just a light. It's just a white LED square, or it's like a 4x6 rectangle, but it's like 8 inches or something like that. You can get them super cheap, like $20 Amazon. It's just USB power LEDs. Just look for one that has decent reviews, because some of them have like weird LED arrays. So that mine came with little magnets, and then another 10 or $20 you can buy these little film strip holders, and then as long as you work on your ambient light setup, it works. If you have a tripod and a decent enough, you probably could get away with a 24 megapixel camera if you have something like that. But yes, you can do that. The product you're talking about sounds pretty cool, though. I would be interested in taking a look. Yeah.
Well, it's sweet because then, you just slide it, click, slide it, click, slide it, click.
If it's that fast, well, yes.
Dude, it looks so nice to just not mess around. Because, I've done that, been there. Trying to get level top-down shots in the camera perfect.
Oh, it's hard.
Oh, it's so hard. And I'm such a freak about it. That I'll... oh, man, I hate it. I try to do, optic cuts on slides and I don't know if I'm lazy or if I'm just a psycho, but I'll just balance it standing up on a table because I don't have stuff permanently rigged. I gotta set it up. So I put a white poster board behind it, light it how I want, and I just let it sit. So I'm in front of it, moving my tripod, doing that. Or sometimes I get so mad I just take the tripod off and I just will like a manic psychopath, just punch in, move left and right, and I'll just I got it. There's definitely an easier way to do it, but it's just I don't know. It's tough. So top down, especially trying to get a flat plane and perfectly hard in focus, man. It's a pain in the ass. So this thing got me thinking, because it'd be really nice. I'd love to see what would happen with a proper negative processor, and then being able to, I'll probably still let the darkroom do scans for me, and then send me back my stuff, because I like them quick on the app, and then I can post them. But having them raw, having full control over the processing would be pretty fire. Yeah,
I have to admit, I've been really thinking more about film lately, and it's because. The
Peter McKinnon.
Market, no, the farmers markets in Boyne City. There's a couple. One girl is a painter, wife painter, and the husband is a photographer. He shoots both digital and film, and he uses a Yashica mat. I think it's a 6x6, if I'm correct, medium format. And his work is amazing. It's so good. And he's creative with it. Cyanotypes and mixing mediums of cyanotype, and his wife will come in and do watercolors around it and stuff, and mixing all kinds of things to make different colors of monochromatic versions of the work he's doing, like super close-ups, like studio flowers, right? Like setting up a box outside in the middle of the night to do these cyanotype shots of these flowers. It's like, this dude is 100% in the process, and I want a piece of that pie. That feeling must be so good, right? To make something like, and he's got these just huge prints, like I don't know, like 24-inch prints made, and some of it is just incredible, in series too. Just I am a sucker for like a triptych, and I want more of that. That feeling must be just great. So I have been sneaking over to his booth, taking a look at that stuff, going, I should get a medium format film camera every Saturday, every Wednesday, that. 2 days a week. I keep looking. So I don't know. I'm eyeballing. I don't know yet.
I don't know that I want to go that much into the process. It gets drastically more expensive when you screw up, and I screw up a lot. So
I'm okay with screwing up as long as it's like not damaging to the process. I'm okay with like, oh, that didn't work at all, but I know where to go from there. You know what I mean?
Nah, I don't know that I've ever had a single roll of 36 come back.
What?
I think like every single roll I've ever sent out has had like the last 4 shots were jacked up, or like my freaking AE1 ate half a fucking film roll once. Dude, I've had pretty bad luck, and I hate when it happens. So
I've definitely lost some shots, but I always attributed it to the film having expired in 1992.
No,
that's all
man,
I've been shooting on lately.
This was new film, dog. It was
that's different.
Man. It's just like stupid stuff that I mess up, and I don't want to do that with, plates of film that are way, way more expensive. And it's a lot. It's a headache, and I just don't need to get manic about something else. I support you, but man, I know how obsessive I get, and I don't think I need to obsess over that.
Well, I know it's like one of these things that's going to take some serious time. So in my mind, I'm thinking this could be a neat winter project if I wanted to really learn this. And he's like, I talked to him on Saturday. He's like, oh, it's easy. You just, set up in your closet or in your bathroom, and it's just a couple minutes. And I'm like, I know damn well that it's not going to be just a couple minutes and it's easy, but okay, bud. Yeah. Maybe I'll think about it.
Yeah, I don't like when somebody at like the top of their game tells me it's easy. I go, is it easy before or after the 25 years of experience? Because
that's the trick.
Because I don't know that I got time for a 25 on this boy. I'm already 30, man. I gotta slim down.
And this guy's definitely about our age. Oh man, I'm gonna actually shout him out. Let me grab the Instagram, because his work is great, and I would love for people to see who it was. Hang on. Oh no, the filter's changed. Oh, latest. Here we go.
Oh, gross.
Wait. Oh, Instagram's not working. It's James. I know the name. It's James. Wait. James Manning Photo, all one word. Just wonderful stuff. Check him out. All over the place. Oh man, this series of flowers against a pitch black background is fantastic. Please check it out. Cool stuff.
Oh, and I'll throw a link into the show notes and stuff. Always good stuff. Outside of that, man, I'm going to take this, I don't want to call it doom and gloom. I think I'm okay. It's just like a little bit of a slump. But season 6 of Black Mirror finally dropped. And I'm ready to just feel pretty horrible. So I don't know if you ever watched I don't know if you ever watched Black Mirror, but
you're talking to someone who's never watched an episode, but I will one day.
Yeah, it's, man, I think I watched it at like the right time. I watched all 5 seasons after Bandersnatch came out, which is like the interactive movie on Netflix or whatever, where you get to like choose your own adventure, which is wild, and it was a killer experience. But shy of like 3 episodes that I thought were absolutely garbage. It's not serial. It's like an anthology basically. So every episode's basically completely different. Some of them kind of feature things of the other ones, but fantastic freaking show. But just, it was comedic. I think even it might have been them, or I think it was their Twitter, like late 2020 or 2021. They were like, sorry guys, there's really no reason to make a season 6 of Black Mirror because it's happening outside. And because it's just like there's so much stuff about AI and about the future of social media and like all this stuff that's so daunting. And they just tackle it in such an interesting way. So I'm excited to get into that. And Extraction 2, which I don't know if you know this, but I'm a sucker for anything heist, anything, I don't want to say military, mostly like GWAT era military, or like John Wicky or Extraction. Extraction is Chris Hemsworth just like being an absolute juggernaut of a contractor, with a job to go collect a human being safely. And the first one is great. And they made a second one, so I'm sure it's going to be stupid and ridiculous, and I love them to death. So, that's the content update. Otherwise, do you have anything else for the good people still listening?
I do not. I gave you everything I've been working through all week, and that is it.
Right on, man. Well, if you're still listening, drop us a comment. What are you working on? What's gotten you out of the slump? Have you ever been in a slump? Are you currently in a slump? Let's share our vibes or pull each other out of the pits of despair. Whatever works. Leave us a review if you've been listening. This is episode 20. This is a pretty big deal.
Hey, that's cool.
We've been knocking this thing out. I think I got the beat on a couple of people. I might figure out how to have a guest, whether that mean I got to do an episode on my own if it's going to be in person, or we'll do one remote with some people, but I think that could be cool. But we're happy to have y'all. If there's anything you want to hear from us, if you want to see us share more of our own work, let me know. We can do that. Follow us on Instagram and all that stuff.
And hey, if you've got an image, the email to submit for this month's challenge, which is Unseen Worlds, is that correct? That is going to be linked below, or not linked, but you can find the email below to submit your image, some information about it if you want us to know about it, or you can leave us in the dark and we'll take a guess at what we're looking at.
Yeah, either way is cool with me. The email is lotpodsubmissions@gmail.com, but it'll be linked down below. We just want to see people's work. We get to talk about it. We'll share an image of our own as well. And, for a brief moment in time, we will all be succinct and, vibing, as it were. So thanks for listening.
As the kids say.
As the kids say. Oh, bussin' is what the kids say. I think vibing is what we probably said as kids. Now sure. we're up to bussin'. So
yeah, sure. Okay. I don't feel comfortable saying bussin'.
All right. Well, I'm a Zoomer at heart, so have a bussin' weekend, and we'll see you next time.
See you guys.